everybody, welcome back to my travel vlog. Today we are going to be talking about how I ended up, the car is passing, car is passing, car has passed. Hey everybody, welcome back to my travel vlog. Today we are going to be talking about how I ended up in Wuhan, China. This vlog is going to be about my journey to Wuhan, as opposed to the experience in the city itself. So let's get started with this story because that's why you clicked. So I had just quit my job and I was working in accounting, but it was not something that I was passionate about. I really wanted to get into law. The only thing that was on my mind was getting my undergrad degree. Politics, history, philosophy, that's Nikki. I don't work in the field, unfortunately, but those are my passions, and I spent years trying to get to that point, but it just never panned out. Well, anyway, so I was like, it's time for me to pursue this undergrad so that I can eventually go to law school. So I'm like stressed out, wondering how it is that I'm going to sign up for school, what can I do, etc., etc. And one day I was working with my aunt who does hair. I was helping her out, and Miss Grand Bahama at the time, Corel Pinder, walked in to my aunt's salon. She sat at the washing station and I started washing her hair, and she said to me, "Nikki, have you ever thought about joining a pageant?" And I was like, that's not for me. Corel is the type of person, she will pitch you that idea, and before you blink, you done down for it. That's how she is, carry on, right? So she starts listing off, all of these perks of being Miss Grand Bahama, because that's how you get you interested. So she was like, we are involved with a lot of community service programs. You get to go to China for a month. They have a pageant there that promotes tourism. We pay for everything. You also get to go to Colombia for 2 weeks, and you're going there for the same thing, which is the promotion of their coffee industry, right? She tells me that. She also tells me that I get a 2-year scholarship to one of the colleges on the island, and it goes on and on and on. I told her I was going to think about it, and I spoke with my family, I spoke with my friends, and all of those people were really my support system, and honestly, I needed them. Everybody was like, we really think that you should go ahead and join, and my aunt was like, this is going to happen for you. I can see it, I can feel it, law of attraction, etc., etc. So I entered the pageant. A lot of work. I was going to COB part-time, and the night of the pageant, I don't win. I do not win. I come second, and I am crowned the first runner-up. And honestly, I was disappointed. There is no way that I can tell you that I was cool, thing. No, I was very disappointed. I was just like, oh man, I was crushed, but I wasn't devastated. I was just happy that I did well. I feel as though first runner up, I did well. So then after that, summer rolled in, and I remember right after that, I went on a photo shoot, and I was on the beach, and I was sitting on this rock, and the photographer was switching batteries. And as he took his break, I remember staring up into the sky, and I was thinking, oh man, I did this pageant, and before that I had quit my job. I'm at COB right now, but how am I going to pay for school? How? When I don't have a job. So I need to go find a job so that I can pay for the fall semester for COB. But I don't have a job. So I need to think about that, right? So I was thinking about that. I'm thinking about how the pageant has changed my outlook on so many things, and how I really want to travel now. I was thinking about just traveling, just moving, my mind was just open to so many new ideas, and now I want to do different things. And so the photographer took a photo of me while all of these things were going through my mind. Every time I see that picture, I am reminded of what my mindset was at that exact moment. So that was in June. The pageant happened, I think, in March or May, and that was in June when I took the photo. So fast forward to about August, Miss Universe was being held in the Bahamas. And during the second week of the pageant, because I think the pageant was like 4 weeks. So during the second week of the pageant, the contestants were coming to Grand Bahama Island, and my aunt was asked to be a part of the hair and makeup crew for the girls. Just touch-ups and any little thing that they might want changed. Nothing major, right? So my aunt was like, they asked me to be a part of the crew. I'd like to take you with me. And so I was like, look, I can't be around them gals. I don't want to go because I'll think about how disappointed I was because I didn't win that night and all kind of things. I was thinking about all of that. So I said yes. Even though I was thinking all of that, I still ended up saying yes. So when the day came, we went, and they had like a little room set up where you could come and get your makeup done, and you could get body makeup done, you can get your hair touched up, even your nails. So there were like 10 or 15 girls in the room, and I think it was Miss Zimbabwe or Miss Zambia, I'm not 100% sure, but I remember she came to me and asked me to cover a scar I think she had on her leg. And so I started to cover the scar for her, and she asked me the same thing that Carell had asked me. She was like, have you ever thought about joining a pageant? So she asked me if I ever thought about joining a pageant. And I was like, this is what happened. So I gave her the story. I told her the story, and all of the girls were listening, And because like I said, it wasn't a lot of them. It was like 10 or 15 girls in there, and all of them were listening while I was speaking. And they were like, you know what, it's okay. All you need to do is get like a really good director, and you could just go to pageants all around the world, because apparently that's what a lot of girls do. So they were telling me about how when they finish Miss Universe, a few of them are going to a pageant in this country and in that country, and the whole year is just booked out with pageants. It's a whole like world tour thing that they do. And so, they were just giving me advice and everything. And I remember thinking, man, these girls are so cool. They're so down to earth. And it would have been awesome had I had an opportunity to travel and do what they are about to do once they're done with Miss Universe, And I just remember thinking, man, what a bummer, And once I was done helping them out with makeup and stuff like that, I went downstairs to the hotel lobby. And when I was down at the lobby, the director of Miss Grand Bahama saw me. And when he saw me, he was like, Nikki, what's going on? And we hugged and we spoke for a moment. And he was like, I haven't seen you since the pageant, but he just was like, there are so many things that you can do as first runner up in the community. There are so many opportunities where you can also be a part of a few of the community service projects that we are involved in. And so he was like, we're having a meeting and we would love for you to come. Can you make it? And I was like, sure, I can come, see what's up, how it go. So I went to my aunt and I spoke to her, and she's like, yes, you should go, because, you don't know what opportunity is going to come from that. So you should definitely go. And I ended up going to the meeting, and they just spoke to me about different community service, like he had said, a lot of community service projects that I could do in conjunction with the title holder. So I could be a part of the organization, a part of community building, etc., etc. So I was pretty content with it. I was like, okay, this sounds cool. I could do this. This sounds good. So about a few weeks later, I got a call, and it was the organization, and they were like, Nikki, we would like to have a meeting with you. And I was like, okay. I'll be there. So I go to the meeting, and the rest is history. 1 month later, I was crowned Miss Grand Bahama. They had a special ceremony for me at Garden of the Groves, which is a botanical garden that we have on the island. My friends and my family came to support me. And let me tell you something, I was hype. I was so nervous before the crowning. I was just so nervous. I was like, what the heck? How I get here? Because from sitting on that rock thinking, you know, all of these things. Now, like, in about 2-3 weeks, I'll be off to China. It was so surreal at that moment. It was just so surreal. And I was crowned. I was the very first Bahamian of Haitian descent to have ever gotten that crown. And I remember being proud of that. That was a first. So, it was just awesome. It was just great. It was just, I just couldn't believe it. So I got on a flight. I remember going to that airport. Listen, I remember going to that airport and I was like, yeah, it is time to travel. You know, I'm traveling with this big sash. So I remember getting on the plane, American Airlines, and the pilot gets on the speakerphone and he's like, we'd like to welcome Miss Grand Bahama onto this flight. What? Listen to me, okay? Awesomeness. A lot of people downplay the experience of these things. It was awesome. I ain't gonna lie to you. I had a good old time. So I was just happy that I was going to China, and everything else was literally a bonus. It was a bonus. So when I got on my flight, I remember when we were about to land in China, I remember thinking, wow, look how far away from home I am. I'm not someone that gets too emotional over small things, but that was a big deal for me. I would have never guessed in a million years that I would have been sitting on a plane going to represent my country in China. Yes, you have dreams, you have big dreams as a kid, but that is something that I would have never guessed that I would have been doing. So I landed in Beijing. The directors of the pageant, the organizers came, they picked me up and went to the hotel, met the rest of the girls, 70 contestants from around the world. And the experience, I cannot explain to you how awesome that experience was. My roommate was Miss Ethiopia. She influenced so many changes in my life and she didn't even know. So yeah, and we ended up being really good friends. We had our little trio, her, Miss Philippines, and myself. We were thick as thieves, and sometimes Kenya would join us. So we were in Beijing for 4 days. So we took a flight from Beijing to Wuhan, China. That's why you clicked on this vlog, because you wanted to hear about my experience in Wuhan. Well, it wasn't what you thought it was. We went all around the different areas of Wuhan because a lot of the sponsors for the pageant were located in Wuhan. But the pageant itself, the final night of the pageant was in Xianing. But we went all around Wuhan, but unfortunately I didn't have the opportunity to sit and document everything simply because we were on a schedule. And like I said, this video was about the journey, how I got there, as opposed to the actual experience in Wuhan. So I ended up getting top 15 out of 70 girls. And I was shocked because I was not thinking about winning. I was just so happy to be there. And so getting top 15 was huge to me. That was huge. And so I was just happy to be there. I was just grateful to be there. So that was my time in China. From that whole entire journey, I hope that you guys got that what is meant to be will be. Whatever is meant to happen in your life, it will happen regardless. And, you know, going back to that photo where I was thinking all of these things, how am I going to go to school? I want to travel, and it would have been so awesome to travel, and I'm not going to get a chance to do it because where I get the money from? Where, you know? And to see that happened like that, I did not get a chance to be a part to compete in the Miss Bahamas pageant, but I still ended up socializing with the girls. I still had a moment with these girls that I would have probably never had a chance to have had not my aunt been given the opportunity, had not my aunt invited me along, and I took the opportunity. My aunt was the MVP when it came to this entire journey, because if it wasn't for her motivation, if it wasn't for her financial backing when the sponsor couldn't chip in, listen, there would be no Nikki as Miss Grand Bahama. There would be none of that. And so my life changed after that. After I came back from China, I went to Colombia for 2 weeks. So that is how I ended up in Wuhan, China. Remember that what is meant to be will be. Also, it gets better. It gets better. It gets better, and what is meant to be will be. So that is my vlog for this week. I will also be releasing a second part to this. I also want to talk about going to Manizales, Colombia. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's vlog. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment in the comment section. If you have any questions, also leave that question in the comment section, and I will try my best to answer it. Give this video a thumbs up, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you all next week. Bye.
Ooh.